it's important to begin by reflecting on why we're here today. Today we welcome love. Love is the most powerful and important force there is. People have different names for love's energy. Some call it God. Some call it a divine spirit. It is the energy that brought Steve and Ashley together. Come, love, dwell with us. Come when the nights are bright with stars, or when the moon is mellow. Come when the sun, his golden bars, drops all the hayfield yellow. Come in the twilight soft and gray. Come in the night, or come in the day. Come, O love, whene'er you come, and you are welcome. Welcome. We are surrounded by love today. We are honored and grateful to witness and bless the joining in marriage of Stephen Martorelli and Ashley Corral on this beautiful and God-breathed day. They have invited us to share in their public declaration of commitment to each other. We stand in the presence of God and ask for divine blessing on this wonder-filled occasion. At the start, we want to acknowledge and remember those who have passed and are not able to be with us here physically today. Today also happens to be the Memorial Day for Mother Teresa of Calcutta. And I understand it also happens to have been Uncle Tony's birthday. There are others who are like saints for us to remember today. Let us take a moment of silence to remember them in our hearts. For even though they cannot be with us, their spirits are here with us. And they are adding their love here to complete this day. Marriage is fundamentally a choice made freely and intentionally. It is declaring that above all other potential relationships, you choose this person in front of you, next to you, to be first in your life. And so I ask you, Stephen, will you take Ashley to be your wife, to live together in marriage? Will you freely share all that you have and all that you are with her? Will you love her, comfort her, honor and keep her in sickness and in health, and forsaking all others, be faithful to her today and always? If you will, say, I will.
I will.
And Ashley, will you take Stephen to be your husband, to live together in marriage? Will you freely share all that you have and all that you are with him? Will you love him, comfort him, honor and keep him in sickness and in health? And forsaking all others, be faithful to him today and always. If you will, say, I will.
I will.
And now, everyone here gathered, a question for you as well. As witnesses for Steve and Ashley, I have a question for you. Will you do everything in your power to support and care for these two persons in your marriage? If you will do that, say, we will.
We will.
A reading from the Bible from 1 Corinthians 13. Love never fails. But where there are prophecies, they will cease. Where there are tongues, they will be stilled. Where there is knowledge, it will pass away. For we know in part, and we prophesy in part. But when completeness comes, what is in part disappears. When I was a child, I talked like a child, I thought like a child, I reasoned like a child. When I became a man, I put the ways of childhood behind me. For now we see in a reflection as in a mirror, then we shall see face to face. Now I know in part, then I shall know fully, even as I am fully known. And now these three remain: faith, hope, and love. But the greatest of these is love. Now this is a little piece from Captain Corelli's Mandolin by Louis Bernier. Love is a temporary madness. It erupts like volcanoes and then subsides. And when it subsides, you have to make a decision. You have to work it out. whether your roots have so entwined together that it is inconceivable that you should ever part. Because this is what love is. Love is not breathlessness, it is not excitement, it is not the promulgation of eternal passion. That is just being in love, which any fool can do. Love itself is what is left over when being in love has burned away. And this is both an art and a fortunate accident. Those that truly love have roots that grow towards each other underground. And when all the pretty blossoms have fallen from their branches, they find that they are one tree and not two. As those words settle in, I invite us to pause again. And this time, I invite you to hold a word or phrase of wisdom for Stephen Ashley today. There's a lot of wisdom in this room. Reflect on what wisdom you have to share for Stephen Ashley. Let's just take a moment to do that. So I would like to hear from just two or three of you. Words of wisdom. What is coming up today? What is coming through? Just raise your hand. Speak loudly enough. This room has a lot of good sound in it, so I think we'll be able to hear you. But be sure to speak out. Turn and face that for a second. Okay? Raise your hand if you have something to share. A word of wisdom. Yes, whatever.
I would say listen to everybody, but keep your own counsel.
Yes.
Romance, man. Date that girl every day.
Over here.
Never go to sleep angry.
There's one in the back.
Patience.
All right, thank you. You can share the rest of them at the recess. We've talked about the essence of marriage as communion. And I've heard that you actually grew up near each other, not very, just a short couple minutes away, like over the hill or valley or whatever it was. And so close, and yet you didn't know each other. So your lives were parallel, two different lives, separate, and yet now coming together. Yeah. Two separate lives drawn from two families represented here. You're married to each other's families. Two separate lives, two different stories, two sets of experiences, two gene pools, two perspectives, two paths. It's pretty incredible. It's a miracle, really, that two people with such different lives can come together like this and choose to live together. Move forward and learn together and continually discover a truth that holds you both and sets you free at the same time. So often in life it's easier to focus on what divides us, what separates us. We see that very easily. So what is so beautiful and what is so needed today is what we're seeing right here. Focusing on what brings people together. So, what draws us, despite of all the issues and the challenges, to say, which is what they're saying, yes. They are saying yes, and a bunch of exclamation points to each other. Yes to life, yes to each other, yes to the future, yes to whatever it might be. Yes, I promise to share my life with you through whatever may come. So a couple of things I know about Steve and Ashley. One is how generous they are. They both are. Heard a story yesterday, Steve, about you working with one of your clients, I guess. It was a restaurant. And the person really needed some help, and you were there and helped that person out. This is who Steve is. So in Ashley, your sharing of your heart, that comes through just being around you, just being with you on Zoom as I was. You can feel her heart, right? Her generosity of spirit. Another thing I know about Steve and Ashley is they're dedicated to continual learning, personal growth, development, things unfolding, not staying the same, discovering something new about each other, about life, about how to live, about how to do this life. Pushing the bounds, which threaten to divide us or pull us back, or hinder growth, pushing through those things. You're dedicated to offering forgiveness over judgment, love over fear, to what is possible, to what just might be. They see potential where others might be satisfied with the usual, just going through what they're used to doing. What holds us in our deeper relationships is our promises, to be there with and for each other. In a wedding, it's the couple's vows that seals their marriage covenant. Covenant is a promise of faithfulness. It's words, it's just words. It's words that are holding you here today. It's your words, simply your words, Steve and Ashley, that makes the difference. And so now we're going to take a few moments to hear from Steve and Ashley, one at a time, obviously, to declare their words, their vows to each other. And Steve, why don't you go first?
I want to thank John, first of all, for a little comic relief before. It seems we're getting pretty serious. Back in February, I was at a networking event, and whoever I was talking to, they said, "Oh, Steve, you got a big year coming up this year." I said, "I know, I can't believe it. You turned 40. And they're like, no, the wedding. I was like, "Oh yeah, that too." But here's the truth, is really, I've always felt like getting married has been a natural extension of our relationship. It just felt right. And a couple years ago, we were actually in Vegas, and we had a serious talk about like, hey, should we actually just get married here? And it was kind of funny because when I was a kid, for some reason I had two thoughts on my mind. One was that I would get married in Vegas someday, and the other one was that I was going to die young. Super weird, but... Glad that we're all here in Prospect, Connecticut today. But we were seriously thinking about it. We're like, $200, we can get Elvis, we can do all kinds of fun stuff. And it's over, right? Like, no big wedding and all this hassle and blah, blah, blah. And we started thinking about it and kind of digging into like why it didn't feel right for us. And what it came down to was, well, hey, what about Noni and Papa and Jabe, right? They probably won't be there to see us. I said, probably our parents too. And the circle started growing. We're like, we might as well invite friends while we're at it, right? But we came to a realization. Everybody's been giving us this advice for the last month that, hey, this day is all about you guys. Well, really, when we really thought about it, the ceremony is for us. That's right now. But the party and the celebration is for everyone. It's really an expression of gratitude from us to throw for everybody. And I did some research on ChatGPT. And did you know the average wedding takes 300 hours to plan from the bride and the groom? We might have had a little help from Turnkey Squad over there. Thank you guys. Might have shaved off a few hours. But going into that, right, that's like a part-time job for an entire year with sprints and slow times and whatnot. But we wanted to be as intentional as possible for today. Over the last few years, on both sides of the family, there's been a number of funerals, and it seemed like the family's always getting together for kind of sad things. And we said, we wanted to get everybody together for a happy thing. And beyond that, we have a lot of great people in our lives. A lot of different roles in business, at work, and friends, and families, and we said, let's get them all together and see what happens. So that's really what our hope is for today, is to create some amazing memories for everybody here. With that being said, on behalf of me and Ashley, I'd like to thank everyone for coming, and I hope that our 300 hours of planning really will be enjoyed today. Now, with that being said, now for the story of me and Ashley, so I don't have to explain it 20 times a cocktail hour. 2020, I was a different person. Ashley's not gonna like when I say this, but I was a bachelor. Outside of work, I had 2 primary missions. What are we doing for happy hour? What are we doing this weekend? Except when I visited Donnie and my parents, I literally never ate a home-cooked meal. And sadly, I was kind of in a place where I'd given up on love. I had a little consultation with my inner voice, and it said, love just kind of is an anchor to our ship, and we're better off without it. So that's kind of where I was, just Steve being free, living off the land. Speaking the truth. But then Ashley reached out on Facebook Messenger. And I thought it was a bot. So I didn't write that. But after some verification with my attorney, Mr. Alhayek, we identified her as a real person. And that's how we met. And it turns out she was the referral from one of our very early on clients at Turkey, Napoli Pizza. We have some Napoli Pizza here today? Yeah! Thank you for that referral. So we decided to meet up. It's funny, actually, I learned more of the story this morning, but I talked to her on the phone. She's like, come down to Dana Lane, blah, blah, blah. Look for the mailbox with a pig. And I said, for what? I said, a pig, like the animal, a pig. And I was like, that's weird, but okay. I guess we'll see where these things go. Now, also, reminder, this is the beginning of COVID. Like, this is when, summer of COVID, our whole construct of the world changed, and, nothing was open, right? So we had to figure out new things to do. So I said, let me grab a picnic blanket, and we'll go find some dinner somewhere and find a place to picnic. Turns out, we got a pizza and McDonald's. I highly recommend it for the grass. Very nice. We camped out at McDonald's. We did a lot of simple things that summer. We watched some movies in my Tesla, which was fun. We bought these little electric scooters and we drove around vacant cities. I don't know why no one was driving, everyone was scared, but we were driving to the middle of Newberry Street. And what I found is that I just really enjoyed spending time with Pal. And yes, the word Pal is a safe word to use. It's just kind of something that stuck. We always said goodbye, like, hey, bye Pal, see you next time Pal. And it just kind of stuck, so it's okay to use, that's where the word comes from. She actually has a necklace on right now that says Pal. She actually bought it herself. Now, while this was happening, my inner voice was kind of knocking on the door, like, hey, thought we talked about this, not doing the whole love thing. And then gave me some advice, rather than be on my best behavior to try to impress Ashley, why don't I just try to give her all the reasons to run for me? So I think I actually just told Ashley one day, I'm a difficult person to date, just so you know. And I told her all the reasons why, right? Like, I have a business, people call me all the time. Actually, a merchant called me earlier to order 2 boxes of paper. I said I was getting married, and like, okay, cool. Good, awesome. So, I get calls all the time, meeting new people, I'm traveling, we have an office in the Philippines, I'm living and doing weird things in Asia. So I just, I'm not like a conventionally dateable person. For some reason, Pal came back for more. Then I figured it's time to bring out the big guns. Time to meet the friends. Let's start with the worst of them. Mr. Aaron Glassberg. So, I talked to her, like, hey, you want to meet my friend? And I tried to kind of preface it, like, hey, he's going to ask you a lot of questions, where to go to school, talk about some basis points or stocks, things like that. And after it was all over, we get in the car, I'm like, so, what do you think of Aaron? Honest to God, she goes, I love Aaron. And I was like, really? I was like, I mean, great. And she said, why? People don't like him? I said, no, it's not that. You know, it's more of an acquired taste for significant others and wives and so we'll leave that there. Aaron will have his rebuttal later. As the summer went on though, I realized that Ashley truly loved Ashley, and I'll give you my 3 realizations. The first one, we were out to eat with some of her friends, and at that time she was kind of rolling with a different crew. Bunch of girls, you know, big shoulders. And we're like, you kind of get the picture, like. So it was all fun. We were all joking around, right? Ashley didn't know. She went to the bathroom, and all the funny games that ended like that, they got real serious. Like a mafia movie, like we didn't like. So tell me right now, why you like Ashley? And I was like, she recharges my batteries. And I was in my mind, I was like, damn, that was the stupidest thing I could have just said. But then all of a sudden they started smiling again, and they're like, oh. And I realized that was actually a really good reason for liking somebody. Now, being able to spend time with them and have them recharge their batteries, not feeling drained, and that is a great feeling. We actually wear these Oura rings, and they tell you like when you go into this restorative state, we can actually just hang out with each other after work. It puts us into that restorative zone, but not to geek out science. Second realization. One thing I learned about Ashley that I love about her is when she sets her mind on a dream or a goal, she sets out to be the best. And unlike a lot of people, she doesn't talk about it, she doesn't brag about it, she just does it with this quiet, humble confidence. Almost to a point where you don't even believe her. You know, like when I first met her, you know, she told me, you know, we talked about what you're gonna do, like where you go to school, all that stuff, and she's like, you know, I wanna be a farmer rep someday. And I'm like, yeah, so does every hot girl, you know. I had a quarter for every time I heard that one. But it was real. She was grinding away at a job at CVS, learning what the drugs were all about. Then she took some, I'm telling you, crazy sales jobs, turning companies, weird stuff to get some sales on her resume. And then she got her big shot. She got hired by a pharma company, and she became one of their youngest reps. And since then, I've seen her come. We have a whole thing of trophies at home now on the table. Where's this one for? I'm a rising star. MVP. She's always impressed me doing amazing things. That's almost over. Even at the gym now, right? I'll give you this one. When we first started dating, I used to bring her to the gym, and I used to do some personal training back in the day, like, so I learned all these things over time as a teacher and stuff, and, you know, then now we go to the gym, and she's like, that's not how you do that. You do like this now. And she's like, we don't do supersets anymore in 2025. And, like, even, like, sometimes I'm just amazed by her, like, there's girls, like, bigger than her, and they're doing the hip thrust. I don't know if you guys know what that is, but they got, like, 25-pound plates on both sides. And then I look over, Ashley's got 3 45-pound plates. Killing it. I don't think about it. I actually skipped the gym yesterday. She wanted me deadlifts the day before. I'm like, no, I'm not doing that. I have games tomorrow. Lastly, I will say, as Pastor Rudd said, Ashley, what I really learned about Ashley is that she just has this huge heart. And where I really saw that was there was a time period where Nani and Bob were getting into a lot of trouble going to the hospital. And Ashley was the first responder. Let's go visit them. And it wasn't a check the box thing. It was like, let's make sure they got the right nutrition. Let's cook some meals for them. And when we're there, she's just truly engaged. And I saw that happening. And that's not something you can, force somebody to do. That's something that just comes naturally or doesn't. And she also loved to host things. She would form a lot of events like, hey, let's learn how to make gelato. Let's invite the cousins. Let's learn how to make pierogies. We did all these family events. I hope one day my cousins will come too. That would be nice. That'd be fun. And we even went to Aunt Antoinette's. We made some bread. That was great. It was a great memory too. And at the end of the day, like, she's just always there for family. She's always doing really great stuff, and she takes care of me. Like, literally, things up after me, laundry. She's number one wife. So, I wrote these next words for you, pal. I want to read them word for word. No improv here. Ashley, I love you for more reasons than you know. I admire your spirit, your quiet confidence, and determination toward everything you set your mind out to do. Your strength, not only physically, but your unwavering character and morality when tough decisions need to be made. Your genuine kindness and compassion that you give into our families, friends, and even the animals in our life. R.I.P. Rambo. Home is no longer a pit stop for me, but a place to rest and recharge with you, so I can bring the best version of myself to everything that requires my energy. Going out to eat no longer has the same appeal. I love your cooking. And I genuinely miss home even when we're on vacation having fun. You inspire me to be a better version of myself. I'm grateful to have you in my life. You truly are a great partner and a great pal. And I look forward to all the chapters ahead of us. As your husband, I want to make 3 special vows, in addition to all of the boilerplate ones. I vow to take care of my body and my health, so I can show up for you, for our family, for the challenges ahead, with energy, zest, and strength, so we can enjoy as much of this life together as possible. I vow to stand beside you as your equal, to support you in your pursuit of all your dreams and goals. I promise to honor your spirit, to encourage your growth, and to be there for you in whatever direction life calls. Lastly, I vow to find love and gratitude for you and our relationship every day. Even when we disagree or get on each other's nerves, I will always remember that every little pet peeve is worth it, because I would never trade them for a life without you. That's it.
Alright, Steve. I spent the last several weeks reflecting on everything we've been through together in the last 5 years, and how impossible it is to fit everything out and stay here in this moment. But here is a synopsis. I used to think we met by chance, only by you answering my silly Facebook message, as you so told everybody, and thinking I was a spy for your past relationship. Having your best friend Johnny do internet sleuthing research on me. Only to find out I was just a girl who lived in a house with a pink mailbox. Thank you for also going into detail about that. And who wanted to hang out for ice cream and pizza in that order. Who just wanted to be pals during quarantine and go on her next adventure. But what we didn't know was that it was the start to our forever story. And now I know the universe put us together because we were meant to spend our lives together. I stand here today a better person in so many ways because of you. You pushed me to grow, not only in my career, but as a person. You're always there to remind me how smart and capable I am, and never fail to tell me how proud you are of me. Not a single day goes by that I don't feel how strongly your love for me grows, and you never fail to show it. Steve, I love how brilliant and passionate you are about the things that excite you. How your mind is unlike any other I've met before. How you can take any small idea and make it the most grand. How you can take any negative situation and always focus on the positive. How any dream that I have is instantly roadmapped by you with the same excitement you have for pursuing your own dreams, and is the same excitement that you have for me. Maybe a little too much so though, like when I thought it was a good idea to have a vending machine business. That I immediately learned was a lot of physical labor that I did not like. And so it also became your job. And although you knew from the beginning that that was probably not going to be my best idea, you stuck by me and helped me create that business. And then waited for me to say a year later that I was over it before you told me I knew this was going to happen. So thank you for waiting. I must admit that you know me better than I know myself sometimes, so thank you for loving all parts of me, even the ones that aren't always easy to love. And today, standing beside all our best friends and family, surrounded by all the people we cherish the most to celebrate our forever, I just want you to know that everything I want in this life is standing right in front of me. And knowing how indecisive I can be, but if there's one thing that I'm sure about, it's that I'm spending the rest of my life with you. And today, as I become your wife, I want to share my promises with you. I promise to love you unconditionally, without hesitation or reservation. I promise to love you not only when life is easy and full of laughter and joy, but also in times of difficulty and tears. I promise to always stand by your side, holding your hand through every challenge and celebrating with you in every joy. I will always be your constant support, your biggest fan, and your unwavering partner in all that we do. I will be patient and understanding, knowing that we are both growing, working to grow in this life together. I will never take for granted the trust you have placed in me, and I will work every day to earn it and keep it. I promise to encourage you, believe in you, and inspire you to accomplish all the things in life you set your mind to, and together we'll build a life full of adventure, creativity, and purpose. I promise to always be your safe haven, your home where you find comfort, food, solace, and peace. I will always be your partner in crime, your best friend, and your pal. And as we grow old in this life together, I promise to love you for all of eternity, be the best wife, dog mom, and future mother to our family as Emily will be for me. You have truly defined what love and partnership is, and for that, I will love you forever.
So these rings are visible signs of your promises to each other. They're circular, convey the idea that your love will never end. Bless the giving of these rings, that they who wear them may always know the love that they convey. So Ashley's going to have you take his ring first. Let's see. Stephen, I give you this ring as a sign of my vow, and with all that I am, and all that I have, I honor you. Ashley, I give you this ring
Ashley, I give you this ring
as a sign of my vow,
as a sign of my vow,
and with all that I am,
and with all that I am,
and all that I have,
and all that I have,
I honor you.
I honor you.
Now that Stephen Martorelli and Ashley Burrell have given themselves to each other by personal vows and by the symbolization of these rings, I announce to you that they are husband and wife. May God bless their union always. Amen.
Steve looks so handsome.
Becky and I asked ourselves, how did Steve pull this off? We're happy he did. You know, Steve was a curious young man, and as you can see, he has his own unique sense of humor. When he was 18 months old, he climbed up a ladder to a loft that we had in our apartment that we used for storage, no balcony. And when he was 12 feet off the ground, when Becky discovered him, she started to climb up the ladder and try to coax him to the ladder. Well, he thought this was the greatest game and started running back and forth across the edge of the balcony. What was fun for Steve was terrorizing for my wife. And it was an omen of things to come. It was the beginning. He went to middle school. He spent so much time in the headmaster's office that Becky and I thought he should have had a chair reserved there for himself. right before graduation, he had one last prank. He put Tabasco on the faculty's pizza. They let him graduate anyway. It was a relief. It didn't stop there. He goes to high school and decides to run for class president. Well, in his marketing campaign, he develops these little baseball-type cards with these famous actors and actresses. You know, one was The Godfather, saying something like, hey, vote for Steve and I'll make you an offer you can't refuse. That wasn't so bad, no problem. But then he had one with Pamela Anderson, scantily clothed. I can't tell you what was on that card, but I can tell you that it was a brilliant marketing campaign that failed. Because the dean of the school banned him from running for office then. But fortunately he graduates, goes off to college, and doesn't stop there. His freshman year of college, he walks into his professor's office and he asks his professor to fire her teaching assistant. Of course the answer is no. But if you know Steve, you know he doesn't take no lightly. So he goes out and creates a survey for that class and other classes that had the TA, and brings all the data back to school, back to the professor. And guess what happens? They fire the teaching assistant. Steve is the only person I know who, through insubordination, he can end up with a glowing letter of recommendation from his professor to go to law school. He goes to law school, uneventful, starts his own business, gets out, and decides that he'd like to have a personal limo at his disposal. Of course, he can't afford a personal limo, so what's the next best thing? To start his own little limo company as a side hustle. So he applies with the Department of Transportation for a license. And he's denied. First, we know Steve has a hard time accepting the word no. So what does he do? He appeals. And he appeals all the way up to the Supreme Court. And guess what? They overturned the decision of the Department of Transportation. First time in the history of the state of Connecticut that the Department of Transportation is overruled. Beyond Steve's humor and his persistence, Steve's greatest asset is that he values relationships. And, you know, he's a loyal son, brother, cousin, second cousin, first cousin once removed, friend, and colleague. And Ashley really shares those values, and that's why most of us are here today. So with that, I'd like to propose a toast and raise a glass to Steve and Ashley. I'd like to wish Steve and Ashley a life of love, happiness, laughter, and maybe just a little bit of mischief to keep their relationship interesting. Cheers.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Johnny Ohio, for those who don't know me. And I'm Steve's law school study partner, best friend, therapist, all of the above. But it's all an unpaid position, unfortunately. Writing this speech or thinking about this speech was very difficult because there's so many stories, most of which I can't really explain or talk about due to attorney-client privilege, so we'll let those slide. Back in 2007, Steve and I started law school. I think we met within the first few months, and one of the first things that I recall about Steve, believe it or not, he actually was driving, I think, Mrs. Martorelli's bright red minivan that he would park right in the front of the school, the first parking spot. He always got there and he would park right there.
That's it!
And exactly. And quite honestly, I was amazed. I'm like, this young guy, not a care in the world, pull up to school like he owned the place, full confidence, but also very grounded. And that kind of amazed me. So that went on for a little bit until there was a silent auction at the school. Steve decides to bid on it, and of course he wins it. And he parks there for a few months. Springtime comes around, Steve pulls up in a bright red Ferrari, pulls right into the parking spot. People are looking at like, who's taking Steve's spot? And of course Steve gets out of the car. What I really appreciated was he was so humble, like I said, not a care in the world, very well grounded, and that's truly the person that Steve is. Very devoted, very dedicated, very humble, and that meant a lot to me. Quite honestly, going through the law school experience, I don't know that I could have done it without Steve. We were like brothers in law school. We studied together. We wrote a lot of outlines, read a lot of cases, and without him, I don't know that I could have been that successful or even had the energy to do what we did, so very appreciative of that. So somehow we survived law school, took the bar exam, and even took a really nice trip to Jamaica. Fun fact, Steve managed to get himself kicked off the plane on our way back from Jamaica because he decided to use the bathroom as the plane was about to take off. So he gets kicked off the plane, and being the friend that I am, I had to get off the plane with him, and we ended up spending a night or two in Jamaica. So, moral of the story there, one, you never should fly Spirit Airways, never again. But more importantly, I'm thinking to myself, somebody so bright that manages to actually do very well in law school can't even follow the FFA rules, so cheers to Steve about that. And then a few years later, after law school, we kept in touch. Obviously, he was a good friend of mine, one of my best friends. COVID comes around and we decide to, you know what, we gotta get motivated where everybody's locked down. Let's start working out. So we'd get on Zoom or whatever it was at the time, and we'd have workout sessions. My wife thought that was a little weird, but I'm like, hey, anything at this point to get in shape. And funny enough, we went at it for about a couple months, worked out, we were diligent about it. And then sure enough, I think it was like a month or two down the road, he stops picking up his phone calls, stops working out with me. And I think it was because at that time he ended up meeting Ashley, so Ashley, I blame you for this dad bod. No, I'm kidding. But quite honestly, it was amazing to know him for all those years, specifically always there for me, always, my second support, always, had any ideas in mind, I'd reach out to him. And honestly, he's a living proof of a good friend and someone that really cares about people and cares about relationship. To get serious now, over the years, like I said, I've seen Steve argue like a lawyer, laugh like a kid, and care like a brother. And today, seeing him with Ashley, I know why. He's found the one person who balances all of that. She's smart enough to challenge him, kind enough to support him, and obviously patient enough to love him, even though he always is testing the boundaries, like he did with me, the TSA rules there. With that being said, please raise your glass to Steve and Ashley. May your love be stronger than any bar exam, and your laughter bigger than any plane mishap. Here's to a lifetime of happiness, health, and many, many years of happiness, as I said, and many children, God willing. Cheers.
First of all, I want to thank Steve and Ashley and her families for putting together this wonderful event. The ceremony will not be forgotten. Ashley, you two look beautiful today.
Always looks beautiful.
Now, we are Ashley's oldest friends. Some might say we're the original best friends. We met Ashley way back when we were in kindergarten. To be honest, when Ashley and me first met, we did not like each other at all. But that all changed when we went on a school trip to Dinosaur State Park. Margaret was homesick that day, so I had to find a new partner. And that partner laughing and having so much fun that we forgot that we weren't supposed to like each other. By the end of the day, not only were we best friends, but we picked a souvenir to bring home to Margaret so that she wouldn't feel left out. I brought it home, handed it to Margaret, and told her all about my new best friend. So naturally, Margaret, because we're twins, decided, hey, I need a new best friend too. So that's how the start of our trio happened. So when we were writing the speech, I was trying to think of when I met Steve, when Ashley came home and said, hey, I have a boyfriend. And I don't really remember you, but when we were going through it, I was thinking of the traditions that we created. And for those of you who don't know, we have a tradition that when it's somebody's birthday, we go around the table and we'll say what we love about that person. So, since it's your wedding day, I thought that we would go through and say what we love about you guys as a couple. And the one thing that really sticks out to us when we were thinking about this is how you really support and you're really a team. And Maureen was talking about it and she thought a really good story that kind of illustrated this. So we were driving home from a shopping trip in New Haven when Ashley casually said to me, hey, I need to go check on my vending machines. And I said, wait a minute, you have vending machines? And she goes, yeah. Steve helped me buy the machines and set it all up. I'm starting a new business. And I'm like, in complete awe. Who just starts a vending machine business? And how do you even know how to do that? But that's Ashley and Steve. When one of them has a great idea, no matter how big and how wild, the other one immediately says, let's do it. For me, I've kind of seen you guys support each other through First Thursdays, which I'm sure many of us have been to. I've seen you carve pumpkins together, carve Yoda into pumpkins. I've seen you on trips to Montreal, and I've seen you play Pokemon Go during COVID. And that's what you guys really do. You believe in each other, you support each other, and you truly do bring out the best in you. So Ashley, I've never seen you happier when you're with Steve. And Steve, thank you so much for loving my best friend. And I wish you a life of laughter, joy, and happiness. Cheers to Ashley and Steve.
I hope that your day could be a sub-podcast. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Aaron. I've been with Steve for over 20 years. I've had 20 years together. It's all his fault. As you heard on the altar earlier, and I'm not the troubled one, so Steve. I brought a bottle of champagne up here. For those of you that do know me, you might think that I was crazy up here. But we've done that plenty of times in our life. One of the events that we did this actually is a Sunday. So when we first had this event, Steve had to go and find these guys that were wearing big pyramids for the Sunday's Film Festival. I'm like, sure, what happened with all these guys? They're very nice, got these big furry hats on. And they started spraying champagne everywhere, and then that happened to us. And then Paris was at the table, started spraying at us, and they were cool with us, we started spraying at them. It was quite the event. Steve always knows how to find a good time. But ultimately, Steve, like Nate said before, there's just nothing better guy. He's genuine. He's always got a big heart. He ultimately, no matter who you are, he always looks for the best in you. He always works to find the best in you and make you a better person. And you see the same thing in Ashley. It's making such a special couple. And as far as experiences are concerned with Steve, there's never a go alone. There's from taking investors down to McDonald's to getting lobster rolls, which I'm not sure how the FDA can approve that. We didn't get sick, but nonetheless, I've never been again. You take him to the golf course, and he'll shoot 120, walk off with a smile. Any of my other friends would probably drink 12 beers, crash the car, and broke 4 bucks. And it's funny what Johnny mentioned about the spirit thing. Thank God they're in South now and called Chapter 11. That story. Oh, and by the way, it's about spraying champagne parties. Jerry, since he before called me the bad guy, I was the one that told him that night that after the pool party, you guys were out of town, we shouldn't take the Ferrari out on the town. It was a good idea. And if you can see, you didn't fare so well. But all in all, it's never a dull moment. Again, that's what makes it so great about Ashley. Speaking about Ashley, it's one of the first times I met Ashley. It was during COVID. We went to Block Island. Some of you in this room are on that ferry. And Steve, being Steve, of course, brings a wireless microphone. Who would have thought it, right? I mean, at the end of the day, he's got more toys than that for your shorts. So he brings his wireless microphone down there. And it didn't get much utilization out of the actual island. But actually, they should have not planned on the ferry. I'm not sure what the over-under was on drinks for that day, but I'm just thinking around. So we had, well, she had, a full-blown Chris Brown karaoke party on the ferry on the way home. Some were receptive. One gentleman was not. He was like a disheveled, like, Prince Harry. He comes out of nowhere, gets up, runs on down to us, and he's like, what are you guys doing? Are you getting a TikTok? Mind you, it's 2012, but what the hell is TikTok? Trying to give us a lot of things that we didn't know about. But ultimately, you know, I can't say enough about you, you know, my best friend, someone I can rely on to for anything. Obviously, he hasn't heard that from a lawyer out there paying for free either. But, yeah, I can't say enough about you. I'm proud of you on this day. I'm so happy to be here and honored you. And to Ashley, yeah, you're amazing. I always have so many laughs with you. I always have so much fun. You're my DJ buddy, every car ride, every bus ride, ferry ride, whatever rides they got. Always bring that. So at the end of the day, you know, cheers, go big and glass, raise our bar. Let's turn up and celebrate Steve.
Good evening. For anybody that doesn't know me, I'm Ashley's younger brother, Colton. And I know what you guys are all thinking. 5 speeches, what a much. But the open bar is there. It's just mocking us for a little while. I'll keep this real short, I promise. But in all seriousness, anybody that knows who I am knows the importance that family has to me. And one of the greatest lessons that I've learned in life is that family isn't who you're born into. It's the people that you meet along the way. The ones who love you, care for you, stand with you at your lowest, and are there to celebrate all the highs of your life. Growing up, Ashley was always that person for me. She's always been that loving older sibling to me. She's always shown me sibling love, has always been there to give advice, even if I never want to hear it. And always to celebrate my victories, big and small, especially when I beat you in pretty much any video game. But that's either here or there. So when she told me about this guy named Steve, I was a little bit skeptical at first, naturally. Especially because growing up, I had it in my head that that was supposed to be John Cena the whole time. So I'm like, who's this Italian? You know, but over time, I realized something. Steve shares the same values that I do. He values supporting Ashley. He makes her laugh. He treats her with the same kind of loyalty and care that we grew up with in our family. And he knows how to push the buttons pretty good. So that's always your husband right there. So I just want to let you know, Steve, that even though it just became official a few hours ago, I've considered you a part of the family for a very long time now. So thank you. It's about two families joining together in the beginning of a new one. One that they'll build together side by side. And now, I'd like to close out